Hi, this is Johnny. We are going to talk about how we created the box art for this. Now, like I was telling you guys, this thing only could load 350 games at one time, and I have 577 box art, so it's not going to load. So I have to fix the one batch file to make this work. But in the meantime, let me show you on this system right here. Okay, so what I did is, if you have one of this 353 ember neck, you could use the RG353 ember neck, or you could use whatever one you bought. And what this does is, once you go into the ROM, you copy the ROM that you want it to create a box art. Then you select the select. And then you go to scrape. So you're going to press up instead of down, so you go to the bottom, so it's easier to get there quicker. Then you press the A button. In here, you are going to do the 3D box art first. Then you want to get rid of the folder called image. If you already have one, get rid of the image and then do everything from scratch. Make sure this is none. Okay. Create your 3D box art first. And then once you finish, you're going to scrape. You're going to turn everything off. Only thing you're going to do is 3D box art. And when you scrape, once you finish scraping, you're going to copy that into your computer. Then you're going to scrape the wheel. Then you're going to use whatever you copy out from the 3D box art to delete because when you scrape, it's going to have, okay, let's just do scrape the 3D box art first. You want to select all the box art because you want to make sure that it will create. And the one is selected is the one we are on, the final burnout. So if you notice, this is the only one is selected, everything else is not. Okay. Then you're just going to start scraping. Okay. Once you finish start scraping, you finish, you're going to go back out. And then you of course going to get out this screen first. Then you're going to press this button again, and then you're going to say game setting. Then you're going to say update the game list. So once you finish updating the game list, it's going to show you all the 3D box art without the wheel. Now I already did the wheel already, so you're going to see that there's a title for this game. See, there's the wheel on top. Okay. So that's the wheel and that's the box art. Okay. So let's do the second step. Second step is you're going to go back to the scrape again. You're going to go back to the bottom, but you're going to select up. Then you're going to go up, 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 and then you're going to press A button. Then this time, you're just going to leave that alone. This time you say, okay, I want the wheel. Okay, I wanted the wheel. The wheel is the title, the mark here. So once you select that, you're going to do scrape. Now, since you have 500, then here you're gonna leave it like that. Then you can just run. But the problem is now is like you have 577 times 2. You got 1,000 some game on here. How are you gonna separate the mark here? And you do one by one. That's a pain in the neck, correct? So what I recommend is when you did the 3D box art, take your SD card out, copy the 3D box art out first, because inside the image folder only have 3D box art. Copy that out. Then copy this. After you finish the second time, you're gonna have the wheel and the box art. They both are in the same folder called image. Copy that out to the computer, separate folder. Then you're going to copy the 3D box art over the wheel. Not move, copy. And once you finish copy, it's going to ask you, do you want to replace it? You say yes, replace it. And then you're going to delete. Once you finish copy over, you're going to delete it. So I'm going to demonstrate that in the computer so it makes more sense. All right, so I use this to create that's how I got my box art. But like I say, if you have more than 350 game, you could have more than, I think you could have more than, you could have a lot of box art in the image, but if you have more than 350 game in the ROM, it's going to load forever and it's not going to load. So to fix that, you have to go to the ROM folder and remove at least 350. Keep only 350 and the rest move it to another folder, and then it will load up. Then it will show you the both box art. And then you could start testing one by one to see which one work, which one do not work, and then delete those. But like I say, you don't have to delete the box art, you just have to delete the ROM. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So because right now it's not going to load, it's just going to sit there forever, and then it's going to boot up to the it's going to boot up to the title screen again. Hi, this video is to show you how I take the image and separate them and use it for the Capcom RetroStation. Or you can use it for pretty much anything. But I use this device because it go to the internet and grab the box art, grab the wheel, it grab the video, it grab the fans art, and pretty much and it grab the rating and everything. But mainly I need is the box art and the wheel or the title. So what I did is I opened up my RG351 and I create a folder called Final Burnout Neo. Now this is my original one from the other one, but this is the one that the arcade game that I want, I'm using from other system. So it's 576 game in here. Okay, so on the system I run the box art first. So I copy the box art over, and when I copy it over, this is what it looked like. It have the 41 dash something. Okay, so this is the original one, and then the second one I did was I copy the image over. I copy this over. Now you cannot just do the wheel. You have to select either one box art and one wheel. So I choose the 3D box art, and that's what it look like. You always have the dash image. So I want to get rid of the dash image, so I run a batch file, and now there's no dash image. But it doesn't matter if I remove it because I wanted to use this in the future. But now this one has box art and the wheel, and how do you separate them without having to do one at a time? So let me go ahead and put this one on this side because that's where I'm going to I copy it to the wrong directory. Okay, so I'm going to rename this as the wheel. Okay, and this one I'm going to put down 576, the original. Okay, now in here it doesn't just have the original, it also have the box art, so I want to separate them. And the easiest way to do this is to copy the original over and then delete it, and then you have nothing but the mark here. So it just work around it. This is my way of doing it. There might be an easier way to do this, but this is how I remove it. Sometimes you could do move, copy, but this is how I do it. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, and it's going to ask me, do you want to replace all the image? And I say yes. So once you copy over, it's going to highlight the stuff that you just copy over. Okay, and that is when you're going to delete it. I should have left it like this so I don't know that there will be any difference between leave it as a big highlight one or the tiny one. So once you finish copying over, you don't want to touch anything on your mouse. Okay, now you don't want to click anything. You're just going to go ahead and say delete those. Okay, so once you delete it, then we could see how many is in there, and we're going to do refresh. So we have 577. So I'm missing one box over here for some reason. Okay, so it is 577. So this is the original box art. So if I was to open it up and check it, the box art is going to be 400 by 124. Not too bad. 400 by 124. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to here and then rename that to 400 by 124, the size. All right, so now I have the wheel and the 3D box art. And to make it work, I use the Excel spreadsheet. So first I need to create a text file. So I'm going to view detail, and I need to create a text file so I could rename them. Plus I want to shrink the size and then create a folder. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So for the original box art, this is only have 3D box art. Okay, and they already been size shrink to 262 by 362, as you can see right here. So it's 262 by, now it's renamed to nor.png. Okay, but it doesn't have the one select. Okay, now based on the previous information I gave you guys about Super Nintendo, we cannot have more than 350 games. Now I haven't tested any of this game. I'm just showing you how I create a box art so quickly. But there's 577. That's a lot of game to test. So, but they do work on my Raspberry Pi. Now you were saying, well, if you got it from Raspberry Pi, how do you know it's final burnout? That's when I did the move and copy. So with the ROM, what I did is I went to the final burnout and I did a move. I went to the original final burnout and I moved this over to I moved my game over here. For example, so if I do the final burnout, I'm going backward in a way, okay? Because after I move it, I copied this over here. For example, if you move it, what I did is I told it to move all the final burnout over, and whatever it's going to ask you, do you want to replace it? And I say no. So if it doesn't replace, that means whatever I say I don't want to replace. So I say cancel replacement. So it's going to copy everything that I don't have over here over. And once it's copied over, it's going to be highlighted. And that's when I cut. And then I put it over to this folder and say, not in my virtual arcade game list. Okay. So I copy it here. And then this is what is left from the final burnout ROM directory. So now I know all the games that I like to play that is all in final burnout, which will work on Capcom's RetroStation, because that's all you use is final burnout. So now I know most of this should work, but the problem with final for the Capcom Retro is that some of the game is going to play vertically, horizontal, and the screen does not rotate, so you get stuck with games that do not work or do not load. So there's quite a bit of game that do not work on the system, but this is the one that I like that do not include Neo Geo or Capcom. It does have some Capcom game, but it's not the Capcom 1, 2, and 3 game. Okay, because Capcom keep on making game even though there's no they stopped making Capcom 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they're still making Nintendo Switch Capcom games and that stuff like that. But this is the arcade version of it. All right, so now I have the 3D box, and what did I did here? Okay, this is the copy of have both. Okay, this one have both image. So I'm gonna put here both image. I think I copied it twice. I forgot I copied it over. Okay, and this is the original, and this is the one with a single artwork. So those are the box art for the artwork. And then here is the wheel. So we already got the wheel created. We're gonna go ahead and cut it, and let's put it to have its own called the wheel. Let's paste it here. So I want one is original and one I want to change the size. So I'm going to go ahead. First, I need to create a directory list. Okay. So I'm going to go DOS prompt and I'm going to type CD space and then Control V, which is it's a very lengthy, and this is the original real location. So what I'm going to do is going to type dir space. I want to do only the name only, and I want to do sideway. Okay. So this is what it looked like when it finished. Okay. No subtitle. The B mean that I just want the name. I don't want any extra stuff. Okay. Then I want to put all that into a file. So I put the greater sign, and then I'm going to put the word gameless dot txt, enter. So it's going to create a text file for me. And then I'm going to view this by detail. And then I'm going to do it by type, and then I'm going to find my text file somewhere up here. Here you go. Then I'm going to open it up with Notepad++. Okay, so I'm going to select all this, copy, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and undo the Excel file. This is the one I create for RK. Now, so what I'm going to do is I have a program saying that if you see this image file, delete the file and then rename it to just that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this. All right. Now this one is created for -10. So you take all this plus the dash. Now I don't know if the marquee name is going to be longer or not. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And then I'm had to change the formula a little bit. So I'm going to paste it. See, marquee have extra 2, got an M and an I. So I need to fix the formula by adding 2 more. So I'm going to put 12 instead. Okay. So now it will just be the ROM name without the marquee.png. So I'm going to take that and double click it, and that will change everything. Now the picture will be this one. So this is the only place I paste, and it will create all this for me. Okay. And then this would be the one I want to use would be the select one. So let me scoot over to the other side. So recording stuff is over there. Okay, so I'm gonna move over, and the one I need is for the select one. This is the select one. Okay, it's gonna create a folder called the ROM name, and then change the picture into SEL format with SEL.png. That's what this one is doing. Okay, and then here the one that is going to rename it and put it in the box art, but the one I actually want is so I need to create another one. I'm just going to copy this and then insert the copy shell. Okay, so here instead of box art, I'm going to call it the wheel. Okay, because it's not box art, it's the marquee. So I'm going to put the wheel. Okay, because that one is for the box art and I need one for wheel. So in the future, I don't have to create this again. So I have 2 sets. So one is for the 3D box art and one is for the wheel. Okay. And this is the one I wanted to rename them to the wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and take all that, select all. Something went wrong. You see that? This something went wrong because the formula got duplicate. So I'm going to copy this again. Okay, escape and change this because there's too many copy. Some reason did not paste correctly. Should be only one copy. And then I'm going to rename that to the word wheel. WHEEL. And then when you double click on the angle, it just continue with the formula flow through. So change everything to WHEL. So this is some information good to know. Even though if you're not familiar, just follow my step and then you will know how to do this. So we change everything to wheel. And this is the one I'm going to rename all the marquee name to no marquee name. And then put it in the folder called the wheel. So it's going to be 500 something. Oop, went too far. This formula will take 1,000, I think that close to 46,000. This formula, so you don't have to worry about where it went out. You could put 4,000 in here; it will still create a formula for you. So I'm going to copy that and then create a batch file for this. Okay, so I don't need this notepad anymore, and I'm going to create this. Get rid of the dash marquee out of the name. So in the future, if I want to use this for Raspberry Pi or anything, I already have the picture plus the ROM. So I'm going to do text, and I'm going to say so remove the dash marquee, MARQUE marquee, and then rename. Oh, that's all it does. Okay. Dash marquee. So we're gonna go Control V, and then here's all the marquee names gonna be gone. It's only going to give you the physical ROM name. And it's going to create a folder for me called the wheel. So I'm going to put in BAT. Once you change to a batch file, it's going to run as a command line. So it's going to run, and it's already doing it so quick. So you could like create this so quickly, and that's how I could get the artwork, the box art all in one time in a set. Okay, so while that is doing it, okay, it's finished already. We're going to click here, and it actually created this text file because we don't need a text file. Okay, so as you can see, there is all my box art without the, let me view it larger, without the dash marquee. So it's just .png. See that? And that is great, nice, beautiful. See, all the name is being changed. All right. So that's the original without the image. So that's the wheel, and I want to keep that. And this is the original. So they just give me information. Okay. Now I want to rename this and put it for the wheel for the image. So I need a backup copy. And so I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder and call this the wheel 577, the original. Okay. So I'm going to select all and then get rid of this four. That's the fastest way. Control A, select all. And then I'm going to do right click and do copy. And then I'll make a backup copy. Paste. Now, since I want to rename the name, so I'm going to put it back further down so I can rename the name. I don't want to call this one original because this is not going to be the original anymore because the original is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say 577 wheel. Okay, so I'm going to rename this, and the way to do this, I'm going to do Control C. You're going to install that program that I suggest to you guys. Okay, and if you do, then you just need to open up that text file with so you don't have to remember what's the command line. So all of them is going to be 124. So I'm going to rename all those to a size. Instead of 400, I'm going to be 262 by 124. And that's the size for Capcom for the Marquee. Okay. So all the one that you always want to make, because in the future, if you ever like, when I was creating the Neo Geo arcade stick, I forgot to make backup copy, and I really regret it because I have created a lot of artwork that I didn't make a backup copy, and I reduced the size. When you reduce the size and try to increase bigger, the size not gonna look good. You could take a good image and reduce the size, it look good, but you cannot take a small image and try to blow it up because you're gonna see a lot of pixel, a lot of blurry information, and you don't want that. So right now, if I click on it, see it's 262 by 124. Okay. Now, in order for it to not show up in my system, I need to put a 1 in it. So this will be on the very far, on the very top, because when I sort by name, I don't want it to be included because those are big, those have everything. Now I need to run a batch file, so it will create it, the 401 folder with the file called select inside. So I'm going to go back to Excel. Now instead of using this one, let me go ahead and save this. So accidentally, if a machine, always be cautious to always make copy, because sometimes if a machine go bad and like it shut down or it freeze up, and you at least have a backup copy, you actually save your work that I just did. So I'm going to take this one called select, because I'm doing the wheel. I'm doing the wheel. I'm not doing the 3D box art. So I'm selecting this one called the wheel, the Marquee one, and I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to create a batch file like I did with the first time we did the removing the Marquee name. So now we're going to do new text file. Here I'm going to say rename the ROM to SEL. Okay, that way I know that. And then I'm going to open it up, Control V, or you could do paste, same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to close it and say yes, save it, and then change the name from a text file to a batch file. So put BAT. Say yes. Now I'm going to double click the batch file, and it's going to create all the folder for me. So we're going to blow this up so you can see on the very top. Going to refresh. See that? Lovely. Correct. See, it did all 500. You could do 1,000. You could do 2,000. There's no limit. As the formula is the one that takes for a long time to create, and then try to understand how to use this. Okay. So now this is select.png. Okay, and all the size being changed. So it's by 262 by 124. So give you an extra large. Okay, see that? Cool, huh? So now I have all the 577 box art. Now once it's finished running, let's check it, see if it finished running. Yeah, it finished. Okay, let's have a that means it's done. So now we could just take all of them and move it to a flash drive. So let's go do detail, and I'm going to select select all 500. So is down here, it say 577 that is selected. Okay, so I'm going to do copy, and I'm going to go to my iDrive, and this is my Mega Drive, and this is my arcade. So in here, there's only one file, Now, once I finish copy it over, it's going to have two files. Okay, so I'm just going to not select that, but just paste it. Paste. Now, remember I was telling you guys there's a limit on the RK. It only allow Capcom only allow you to display 350 game at one time. Now, I'm not sure that is the case with this one. 350. Now we exceeded more than 350. We have 579 because we had two. We got Neo Geo and PNG. Neo Geo's. We have the ROM and then the PNG. They both are here. So that's the reason it's 579, but total is 577. Okay, so if you was to go in and click on it and view by detail, now you have both the wheel and the box art, and they are transparency because you cannot see the white when you hover over. See, you can see the white between the character, but you cannot see. So it's transparency, meaning that it doesn't see the white. Okay, the white color. All right, so this is done. So this is how you do the box art. Now the problem is the game might not play because there's too many of them. So you will have to break it down to 350 game. I have to create a batch file to say, okay, take half of this and move it to the other side, take half of that. Because the ROM is not going to run if it have too much game in here. So this one I put a different name on it called pause because I'm not playing Mega Drive. I'm just doing I'm using the same flash drive because it's 64 gigs. So, and there's 579 because there's two. There's going to be one don't have a box art, so I need to figure out which one is that. Now for sure, I'm going to test it and let you see. But that's how you do it. So let's go ahead and reject the SD card. And let's test it out. Okay, so I finished creating the batch file. I told you to change it to a directory called that, then delete all the ROMs that's there, and then copy the 349 ROM over. And then when you finish, it says successful finish. And then this one would do the same thing, but opposite, say delete everything, and then copy just the P to Z. So games that start from P to Z, it will start over here. Okay. And at the box art, I left it alone. We didn't do nothing with the box art. Kept both of them together. Hopefully, it will load. So let's test this out real quick. So what I did is in Capcom, I took the ROM and separate into 349. Like I said, with 350 was the max. And then this one, whatever is left over, which is 230. Okay. So I create this one. I will remove that once I make a copy. So you're going to run the choose your game. You want to choose this one, okay, or you want to do this one. So let's just say I want to do the P to Z. Okay, so it's going to copy all the P to Z over, and once it finished, it only have 230 games. So we could test those 230 games. Now the game is I have not tested, so I don't know if the game work or not. But this is just some information that you know what I'm working on, and this is how you do the artwork. And I need to do that for Nintendo as well because Nintendo, I need to create a batch file so that you guys could do the same thing. You could play half of it and then play the other half. But let's test this without removing the artwork because last time I have not tested with more than 350. So this one, because the last time I tested was only a single artwork. This one had two artwork, and they're all inside the same folder called image. So there is 579 box art with two images. So once it's finished, you just need to press enter and then just reject the SD card. And then we're going to test it out and see how it goes. Okay, by separating them, it did load because a while ago it did not load. So now it's showing the Capcom. So I'm going to press enter. And as you can see, the box art is there. So you could put a whole bunch in the image. You just need to separate them before you play it. And so once I separate them, so I believe each game folder, with Neo Geo, you cannot have both of them in a separate folder. The question is, can I have Capcom? Can I have RK in one folder and another RK in another folder? It won't work because I guess it will see both of them, add them together, and that's too much. I mean, I think that's how the system is doing. So right now, only thing I have is Capcom. That's the reason it's able to load the 250 game, but it will not load. It will not load all of them because. So I will go over all the game once I test it, because there's no reason to let you see the game set if the game does not work. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if one of this game will work. It should work because I think I test that one before. But I haven't tested with all the ROM in the same folder. So yes. So if you want a batch file and you only have RK in the one of the USB flash drive, you could have more artwork, but you just cannot have more than 350 game per plane. So you will have to separate them. So right now I only separate to 2 folder. You can separate to 3 folder, but 2 folder, 577 multiply that's exceeded more than 700. It's 1,000 artwork. I mean 1,002 file, but it's 500 something. Okay, so yes, you could definitely do that. And now this one, maybe some, yeah, this one have some lacking because of this game. The system cannot handle it. It will play, but you have lag sound. But I think this one will be okay. Yeah. All right, so I'll be working on this and testing out the game, and that's how I create a batch file. I probably would do one for Nintendo, and then update the download zip file so you guys could download it and then make that work. All right, thank you for watching. Later.